Hello everybody, hope all of you are well. And today I will not discuss organic chemistry because it is not in your half yearly syllabus. So your borderline of completing syllabus was 15th September. So today I will start revision, and in your worksheet also I will give you some questions that will be taken as revision test. So first chapter will revise through different types of question answer. These question answers are very important for your exam purpose. Okay. Now what is your the first question from this your first chapter, that periodic properties and variation of properties. First question is given that fill in the blanks. These type of questions are always important. Fill in the blanks. Now question is given that if an element has 7 electrons, if an element has 7 electrons in its outermost shell, then it is likely to have the dash largest or smallest atomic size among all the elements in the same period. Okay. So if you look at the question, if an element has 7 electrons in its outermost shell, then it is likely to have the largest or smallest atomic size among all the elements in the same periods. Okay. So outermost shell 7 electrons means these are mainly group 17 elements. They are called halogens. Okay. So definitely if we look at the position of the halogen in the periodic table, that is to the right side, okay, just before the zero group or noble gas group, this is the position of this type of element. Now in a period when we will go from left to right, what is happening there? Size of the element is continuously decreasing. Okay. Suppose if we consider the period 3 element, sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine. So from sodium to chlorine side is decreasing continuously. So definitely the element has 7 electron in its outermost shell, then it is likely to have the smallest atomic size. So your answer will be the smallest atomic size that you have to write. Next question is given, question number 2 in the fill in the blanks. If an element has low ionization energy, then it is likely to be dash metallic and non-metallic. So we know from periodic table that generally metals have low ionization potential or ionization energy. Okay. And so that it can easily release the electron, and that is showing the electropositive character of the metals. Okay. Now the question is given that if an element has low ionization energy, then definitely it will be the metallic. if we consider the non-metallic elements or non-metallic atoms, okay, they generally accept electron, and as from left to right the size decreases, okay, and their ionization energy will increase, okay. So here it is given that if an element has low ionization energy, then it is likely to be metallic. So metals have low ionization energy. Hope you can understand. Next question is given the energy required to remove an electron from a neutral isolated gaseous atom and convert it into a positively charged ion is called dash. Okay. Suppose an element is there, it is in the gaseous state and it is the isolated gaseous atom. Okay. And if it releases one electron, or if we remove one electron from it, then it will become A positive. Okay. Now, what is the term here we will use? This is called what? This energy required to remove an electron from a neutral isolated gaseous system. Definitely it will be the options are given: electron affinity, ionization potential, and electronegativity. Definitely it will be the ionization potential or ionization energy. Okay. Next question is given the electronegativity of iodine is dash that of chlorine. Okay. So what is the electronegativity of iodine and chlorine? If you look at the periodic table of the group 17, fluorine is the highest periodic, then chlorine, then bromine, then iodine. So down the group from top to bottom, the electronegativity decreases. So definitely iodine, okay, electronegativity of iodine will be less than that of chlorine, or chlorine electronegativity will be higher than that of iodine. Hope you can understand. Next question is given that the ionization potential of potassium is dash than that of sodium. Next question is given the ionization potential of potassium. Ionization potential of potassium is dash that of sodium. So here also, if you look at the periodic table, that lithium, there is first lithium in the group 1, okay, then there is sodium, then there is potassium, then there is rubidium, then there is cesium. So we know that down the group, okay, from top to bottom in a group, in this case of alkali metals, what is happening? The size is increasing. Size increases means the removal of electron is very easy. Okay, definitely ionization potential value will decrease. So definitely lithium has more IP value compared to the sodium. Now here it is given that the potassium and sodium, definitely potassium has less IP value, okay, than that of sodium. Sodium has more ionization potential compared to the potassium. So the ionization potential of potassium is less than that of sodium. That you have to understand. So this type of fill in the blanks questions may come in your exam, that you have to practice. And don't think this question will come. This is the pattern what I am showing for half yearly exam. Okay, you have to practice this type of questions, and this type of questions may come in your exam. Next, another question is given. The electronic configuration of element is given. That is K is equal to 2, L is equal to 8, and M is equal to 2. Now, questions are asking from this electronic configuration. Here the element is X. This is the electronic configuration of the X. Okay, what is the group number of the element X in the periodic table? So, if you look at this one, that the valence shell, from here you can easily understand that the group number is 2, or you can tell it is 2A. So here group number is 2, or you can write the older form 2A. Next one is the what is the period number of the element X in the periodic table. Period number means here this is the first period, second period, definitely it will be the third period. So period number will be 3. Next one is given that what is the number of valence electron of an element X. Valence electron means outermost shell electron. So definitely the valence electron will be in this case of X. That will be 2. This is the valence electron. And what is the valency of X? So in case of potassium, in case of this element X, the number of valence electron is 2. Definitely valency will be also 2. So in this case, valency is also for the element X is 2. Next question is given, is it a metal or non-metal? Okay, we know that in the periodic table, group 1 and group 2 elements are called metals. Okay, group 1 are called alkali metals and group 2 is called alkaline earth metals. Definitely, this type of elements have low ionization potential value, so they are considering as metals. So you have to write the element X is a metal. The element X is a metal. So in this way you have to write this type of questions answer. So one electronic configuration will be given, and from this configuration, okay, and your examiner can ask different types of questions. Next one, that arrangement of the elements increasing or decreasing according to their properties. First question is given that helium, neon and argon. In bracket it is given that increasing order of increasing number of electron cell. Increasing number of electron cell. Okay, so here if you look at the periodic table, okay, that is the 0 group or group 8 team, then what is the position of helium? Helium is the top, then neon, then argon, then krypton, then xenon. In this way they will go radon. Okay, in this way they will go. Now here it is given that increasing order of increasing number of cells. So in case of helium, the number of cell is 1. In case of neon, number of cell is 2. Argon, it will be 3. So that is the third period element. Then the 3 cell will be there. So from here we can easily get the answer of this question, that increasing order of increasing number of electron cell. So first will be the helium, then it is increasing the neon, then it will be the argon. So answer of this question you can understand. So in this way you have to write, and sometimes if you forget, okay, if you have confusion this type of sign, you can write in this way also. You can give colon or in this way. This type of you can also write. Understand? Another type of question, they are asking that potassium, sodium and lithium. Potassium, sodium and lithium. We have to tell that increasing order of ionization energy. Increasing order of ionization. Increasing order of ionization energy. Okay. So just now I have discussed that lithium as the highest, then sodium slowly decreasing from top to bottom. Okay. Then rubidium. So here increasing order of ionization energy. So your first will be the potassium, the lowest in this among these three. Potassium is the lowest, then sodium, then lithium. Lithium has the highest ionization energy. Next one is given fluorine, chlorine, bromine. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine. So here it is given that increasing electronegativity. Increasing electronegativity. So in this case, what will be the increasing electronegativity? So we know that chlorine is the highest electronegative element, then there is chlorine, then bromine, then iodine. So you have to write increasing, that means order will be bromine, then chlorine, then chlorine. Okay, that will be the answer of your question. Next question is given lithium, sodium, potassium, increasing atomic size. Lithium, sodium, potassium, increasing atomic size. So here, whenever you are going down lithium to sodium to potassium, one by one cell we are adding. Definitely, so lithium is the first period element, second period, so third period, so fourth period. So size will increase. Okay. So here it is given that increasing atomic size. So lithium has the smallest size, then sodium, then potassium. That will be the answer. Sometimes we can ask question, or in your question question paper, this type of question may be asked. Okay, like the definition. So also you have to practice different types of definition, like ionization energy, like electron affinity, electronegativity. This type of definition you have to practice. Okay. Now, if anybody asks you to define ionization energy, then you have to tell it is the amount of energy required to remove the outermost cell electron from an isolated gaseous atoms. Okay. Now, they can ask question that on which factor this ionization potential depends. So your answer will be the nuclear charge and the atomic size. If we increase the nuclear charge, okay, then what will happen? Ionization potential value will decrease. And if we increase the atomic size, definitely the ionization potential will decrease. Next question is that why second ionization potential energy or second ionization energy is greater than the first ionization energy. This is due to the fact that after the removal of the first electron, the atom changes into a monovalent ion, and here the number of electron is less, okay, and the number of nuclear charge is same, okay, and so the outer electrons will feel more attraction towards the nucleus. So it will be very difficult to remove the second electron. When we want to remove the second electron, there will be one positive charge also. That positive charge also at there is nothing but the effective nuclear charge. Okay, that is why the successive ionization energy will increase. If we consider the third ionization potential value, it will be greater than second ionization potential value, and second ionization potential value will be greater than first ionization potential value. If anybody asks you what is the unit of ionization potential, that is the energy, you can write that kilocalorie per mole, you can write that kilojoule per mole. Next, which element has the highest electronegativity? So generally, if we consider that fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, fluorine has the highest electronegativity. Which element has the highest electron affinity? We have already discussed. Not the fluorine has the highest electron affinity. Fluorine has the highest electron affinity. You know that size of the fluorine is small. So when an electron will accept, there will be severe repulsion of the incoming electron, and the electron not present outside the valence shell of fluorine. But in case of fluorine, as size is bigger, it can easily accept the electron, and amount of energy released will be greater compared to the fluorine. That is why fluorine has higher electron affinity compared to the fluorine. That order you have to remember. So again, I am telling that fluorine has the highest electronegativity, but fluorine has the highest electron affinity. This question is very important. So in this way, you have to practice the periodic properties questions. Okay, many questions are given in your exercise. Okay, I have already given you as worksheet. and you will practice, and the problems are already, answers are already given. If you have any confusion, you can ask me through WhatsApp, or you can send me questions from your school's query button. Okay. Next we will discuss one more chapter. Already revision also done. Okay. Again I am discussing what type of questions may come in your exam. Chemical bonding. Next chapter we will discuss, that is chemical bonding. This is the revision. What we are doing, the division by question answers. So chemical bonding, first question they can ask that what is the total number of electrons that take part in forming bonds in nitrogen. So if we draw the nitrogen atom, then you can easily understand, nitrogen molecule, then you can easily understand. So between two nitrogen atom, there is 3 bond. So each bond you know that 2 electron is present. So total 3 bond is there. Definitely your answer will be the 6 electron. Okay. Next question is given. So in this case, in case of nitrogen molecule, number of bonding electron equal to 6, and number of lone pair of electrons, that will be, lone pair is 2 lone pair is there. Okay, 2 lone pair is there. This is one lone pair and this one is another lone pair. So 2 lone pair of electron is present on the 2 nitrogen atom. Okay. Next question, what is the total lone pair of electrons in HCl molecule? Okay, in case of HCl molecule, each chlorine has 3 lone pair of electrons. Okay, if we consider the oxygen atom in a water molecule, definitely it consists of 2 lone pair of electrons. Generally, in case of halogen, 3 lone pairs. In case of oxygen, 2 lone pair. In case of nitrogen, there will be 1 lone pair of electrons. So you can understand. Next, which of the following compound contains a coordinate bond? So if we consider NaCl, options are given NaCl. In case of NaCl, it is purely ionic. So type of bond will be ionic here. So here sodium will transfer 1 electron to chlorine, and Na will become Na plus and Cl will become Cl minus. Okay. So this is ionic bond, and the type of force here, there is the electrostatic force of attraction. If we consider Na2O, this is also metal, non-metal, this is also ionic. And if we consider cesium chloride, this is also ionic. Because cesium is a metal and chlorine is non-metal. So what was your question? Which of the following compound contains a coordinate bond? So all containing that ionic bond. Okay. But last example is given N2H5 plus. So definitely it contains coordinate bond. This question is taken from your school exercise. Okay. Now here you have to know the structure. Okay. If we draw the structure like this molecule is called hydrogen. And hydrogen, okay, is a base, and here each nitrogen contains 1 lone pair, total 2 lone pair of electron is present in this molecule. Now if 1 lone pair, okay, is donated to 1 H plus, definitely there will be formation of 1 coordinate bond. And this coordinate bond is called N2H5 plus. So your answer question was which of the following compound contains coordinate bond. So your answer will be that N2H5 plus. Here N2H5 plus contains 1 coordinate bond. Next, give one word or chemical term for the following. This type of questions are also important in case of chemical bonding chapter. So type of question is given, give one word or chemical term for the following. First question is given that a bond formed by the transfer of electron. All of you know that by transfer of electron ionic bonds are formed. So your answer will be ionic bond. Next one is given a bond formed by shared pair of electrons coming from the same atom. Definitely it will be the coordinate bond. So if we draw the example, then you can easily understand. During formation of ammonium ion, that nitrogen is donating its lone pair of electrons. That means it is forming one covalent bond, okay, semipolar covalent bond, and here both the electron is coming from the same atom, that is nitrogen. Okay, here also sharing of electrons. So your question was a bond formed by a shared pair of electrons coming from the same atom. So your answer will be a coordinate bond. The force holding the particles in an ionic crystal. Definitely in an ionic crystal, the force will be what type of force? Strong electrostatic force of attraction. Next question is given a bond formed between two atoms having a small difference of electronegativity. Suppose if we consider a bond that CH bond. Here, this type of bond, actually it will not exist, CH4 exists, okay. This bond is non-polar or polar. What type of bond? That we have to understand. If we consider the electronegativity of carbon, it will be around 2.5. And if you consider the electronegativity of hydrogen, it will be around 2.1. So electronegativity difference is very small, but there is difference between electronegativity, okay. And your question was that a bond formed between two atoms having small difference of electronegativity. Definitely it will be the polar covalent bond. Polar covalent bond. Okay. If there is practically no difference of electron, okay, electronegativity between two atoms. Suppose this one is also 2.1, 2.1. So there is no electronegativity. So definitely it will be non-polar covalent bond. Here better we can take the example of HCl. Okay, here electronegativity difference is very high. In case of chlorine, the electronegativity will be around 3, and in case of hydrogen it will be 2.1. So definitely here also the chlorine is more electronegative than hydrogen. Here also carbon is more electronegative than hydrogen. So carbon will attract the bonding pair electron towards itself, will become delta negative and delta positive. And because of this thing, okay, what is happening here? The bond becomes polar covalent bond. Next is given that process involving the loss of electron. Definitely when a atom like sodium is releasing one electron or losing electron forming Na plus, so this is what? This is called oxidation. As here if we consider the oxidation number, it is 0, it is plus 1, so the oxidation number is increasing. So the process is called oxidation. So oxidation means loss of electron and reduction means gain of electron. Hope you can understand. Next is given that draw the electron dot diagram. In your syllabus, there is methane. If I give chloroform, then what you have to do? So chloroform formula first you have to know. Chloroform CHCl3. Okay. Already you have practiced CH4 and CCl4 like this. Each carbon atom contains 4 valence electrons. Okay. And there is one hydrogen containing 1 electron and 3 Cl containing 7 electrons. So how they will form bond to fill up the octet? That I am showing here. That carbon will form one covalent bond with hydrogen, and C chlorine will form 3 covalent bond with this chlorine. Okay. So from here you can draw the structure easily. That Cl CCl3H or CHCl3. So this CHCl3 is the structure of what? This CHCl3 structure is the structure of chloroform. Hope you can understand. So in this way you have to draw the electron dot structure. If I give you the some complex structure like Al2O3, that will not come in your exam, but you have to practice for better understanding. Suppose Al2O3. So here 2 Al is present, each Al contains 3 valence electrons and oxygen contains 6 valence electrons, 3 oxygen. So you have to add this First will be oxygen, then we are writing Al, then again oxygen, then Al, then again oxygen. So each oxygen contains 6 electrons, okay, and this aluminum contains 3 electrons, and this oxygen also 6 electrons, this aluminum also 1 electron, and there is 2 electron, and this oxygen also 6 electrons. So aluminum will transfer this electron, this aluminum will transfer this electron. So in this way, so it is forming oxygen 2 minus, then Al 3 plus, again oxygen 2 minus, then Al 3 plus, then oxygen 2 minus. So finally we get the structure, that is Al2O3. Okay. So in this way you have to write the electron dot structure of Al2O3, that is an ionic compound. Okay, containing 2 Al3 plus and 3 O2 minus. O2 minus. Next we discuss the electron dot structure of ammonium hydroxide. All of you have practiced that ammonium chloride. If I give ammonium hydroxide, it will be very easy. So first you have to draw the structure of ammonia. Ammonia will accept one lone pair of electrons from H plus, and it will form NH4 plus like this. Okay, and then one OH minus will come to neutralize this charge. Finally, we get that NH4. So this is the structure of NH4OH. And if you want to draw the ammonia electron dot structure, so each hydrogen is giving 1 electron to nitrogen and containing one lone pair. So definitely we will get the molecule like this. So this is the structure of ammonia when it is giving containing 1 electron to H plus or NH4 plus and OH minus. So in this way we will get the structure of NH4OH. Next one question is given, why covalent compounds do not conduct electricity. So you know that ionic compounds in the molten state and in the solution, aqueous solution or in any solvent, if there is presence of free ions, okay, then it will conduct electricity. Okay, because this free ion will carry current. But in case of covalent compounds, there is covalent bond, there is no chance of formation of free ions or presence of free ions. That is why covalent compounds do not conduct electricity. Okay, you can understand. So this type of explanation questions also may come. So in this way, you have to practice the chemical bonding questions also. Okay. So in this way, we have also completed the revision of these two chapters. So today up to this, thank you.